shorts though.
Talk over here. No, but so tell, because I missed your. We were talking about Cambodia, the namesake, and you learned a phrase. What was the phrase?
Kiom at Chek Kamai, and I'm probably butchering it.
I want to learn it.
Kiom, which means I.
Kiom.
At, which is no. Chek, which is understand or speak. I'm actually.
Kiom at Chek.
Kamai, which is.
Kamai.
I do not
So
speak
Kamai is like the language of Cambodia.
That was one of the weird things. Like Americans, America has Americans. Germans has Germany. In Cambodia, Kamai.
So it's shorter.
Yeah. It's actually spelled Khmer, and they do not like when you say that. Kmer.
Is that like how we would, like, our grammar would be hippopotami instead of, what else do we say? Moose, like a whole bunch of, we don't say mises, or, deer.
It's kind of like that. But, yeah, that was the only phrase I figured out. A couple of the people on our team actually picked up some. They learned like "I love you" or how to
They
order
ever have
coffee.
a little conversation?
They would try to, and some of them actually figured it out fairly well. Especially, we had actually 2 teams that went to Cambodia. One of the girls in the other team who's been in missions her whole life, she picked it up super fast.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying not to stare at the camera.
Oh, don't worry about it. Annalise aren't.
Vaguely.
So she's getting ready to do YWAM London, and she, the one in London that she's going to, specializes in cosmetology, so hair cutting. So I went over and I had her cut my hair while I was talking to her and stuff. And I got home and the thing didn't record any of it.
I thought you were gonna say it just looked terrible.
No, her hair looked great. But anyways. Give me a little start to finish, your DTS and your experience in Cambodia, both of it. Break it down, maybe.
This will be interesting. So, did DTS in Colorado Springs, which was 3 months, and that was just lectures, kind of trying to prepare us. I say trying because it didn't. Trying to prepare us for outreach, but it was more personal growth. Trying to get us into the habits of reading our Bible, spending time with God, actually meditating on what we're reading, and
because you're probably limited culturally what you can learn before you go over. Yeah. Plus, you probably didn't even know.
No, we didn't, at the beginning we didn't know where we were going to go. We just knew it would be somewhere in the 1040 window.
Okay.
But
explain the 1040.
Latitudes and longitudes. It's part of northern Africa over almost all Southeast Asia, I think. It's just statistically what we can see as the most unreached as far as Christianity goes.
And the mass volume of population that lives in that?
Yeah, it's very, very densely populated. If you've ever been to India, then it's, a tiny town like Park Rapids, and there's 70,000 people in it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad in Poi Pet, which is where we went.
Say it again?
Poi Pet.
Poi Pet.
Yeah. But lecture phase.
Colorado Springs,
which is awesome. Tim drove down there with me.
Yeah.
Just before we started everything, we did something called the Manitou Incline.
Oh, I've seen it. I've not done it, but
2,000 goes up 2,000 feet in less than a month.
Those that have been part of Summit Ministries, because they're out of Manitou.
Okay.
Because it's like, oh.
It's just straight up.
So you did that on the front end?
I did that twice.
Oh, nice.
Once sort of beginning of DTS, and or once right before and once kind of towards the beginning.
So that was like team bonding.
It was Tim laughing at me the whole time. Tim's, I don't know how he got up there faster than me, but he was like...
Really?
He was a decent ways ahead of me the whole time, just laughing at me.
Not breathing hard or anything?
No, he was breathing hard, but he was having fun with it.
Maybe that was his Nepal acclamation.
There was actually guys who would run up the incline and then run back down. I'm like, I know you do this every day, but I still don't like it.
So you and Tim did that apart from your DTS?
Yeah. Okay. And then I did it with some of the people with DTS. Okay. They never had us do any trips as part of DTS, but we had the option to leave on weekends and stuff like that.
Okay. Now you weren't in Manitou, you were actually in Colorado Springs.
Manitou's like a suburb.
It's almost a Twin City type. Manitou's kind of well, it's hippie. It's
very hippie.
Yeah. Anyway.
But most of DTS lecture was classes.
Any of them stand out more than others?
They describe DTS as drinking out of a fire hydrant, which it really is, because we'd have a topic for a week, and then next week we'd have a new topic, and it was lecture after lecture after lecture. It was things like Holy Spirit, spiritual warfare, which is very weird for some people, very challenging. A lot of people are like, I don't know if I believe in all this stuff, and they just encouraged us to go back to
Some of your team? Was that wasn't necessarily your struggle, but
not necessarily my struggle, but some people were, they did challenge a lot of theology, and they said, go back to the Bible. If you really disagree with something, then that's your walk with God. Yeah. But we only had one person leave because I think they really disagreed with something. And real quick, my DTS was started at 64 people. I think we had one person come like a week in, and then we had, I think, like almost 10 people leave towards like in the whole
size.
It was decent.
And that 64 down to 54 or whatever, like they didn't all go to Cambodia either,
we
right?
went to 2 teams to Cambodia, 1 team, all girls, to Thailand. There was, 64 people, 15 guys. Oh, that's apparently is the normal average. But we had 1 team of all girls go to Thailand, team went to Malaysia, Nepal, Thailand, Malaysia,
2 Cambodia,
and 2 to Cambodia. I don't think there's one more. I think that's all of them. So they sent us all over the place, and we all had really different experiences.
Each group.
Yeah. Like for us, most of our ministry was teaching English, which we're going all over the place. This might be confusing. We'll get to that once I finish lecture.
Sure, go back to there.
But again, just classes on a lot of different topics. Then we had, I think twice a week we had like a dedicated Bible study time, and it was actually really fun because a lot of the Bible is, we can understand it pretty well. But then there's some stuff that you can add through like context of times, which I didn't know anything about. So that was
context of times. What do you mean, like?
My favorite example was like the prodigal son. This is one that stuck with me. The son comes back, and his father runs to meet him. For his father to run was very inappropriate. We don't know. The Bible doesn't explicitly say that. And they also don't say that the son coming back after wasting all his inheritance would have been shamed by his town. Like they would have publicly.
So a greater context even than what we normally.
The father shaming himself to keep the son from being shamed. That just an example of one of the things that really stuck with me. Then there was we talked about Jonah for like an entire day, and I don't remember any of it.
For Jonah?
Yeah, just stuff that I never would have.
Not your VeggieTale version of Jonah.
No. Jonah apparently was a very angry person. Like, okay, God, go.
Yeah, Jonah's a fascinating book that we cartoon it way too much. Yeah. Anyways.
But, towards like halfway through lecture phase, and we actually got divided up into teams. My team started as me, one other guy, and my male leader, and then 9 girls.
Okay.
Again, it's a ridiculous ratio.
Yeah. Bonus on your end, maybe.
Actually, it wasn't bad.
Bring me some guys.
I felt very blessed that I grew up with almost all sisters.
Oh yeah.
So
that would be a fit. Yeah.
I knew how to keep my mouth shut, and I knew when it was okay to laugh.
Yeah.
But the other guy on my team actually ended up leaving right before lecture, so it was just me and a male leader.
Oh wow.
All of outreach, and thank God he was a cool person.
Yeah. So you guys get along because I'm sure you roomed together.
Yeah, we roomed together. Him and I actually stayed separate from the girls, so we just had more time together.
What else from your lecture phase? Anything?
We did learn a little bit about cultural, but most of our stuff that was cultural was how to reach them. So Cambodia is a Buddhist country. So if you tell them about Jesus, they'll just accept it because they think, oh, we have thousands of gods. What's one more? So it was kind of like, okay, you have to really start at the beginning. Like, okay, there's one God who created all this. And some people were very accepting, some people weren't. But we were very happy when people actually were like, okay, they started asking questions. Most of it was how to reach them. The other lessons we learned were how to not get in trouble.
By the things that you're saying, or even gestures?
Gestures like, they told us pointing with one finger was considered aggressive. It was, no one cared.
It was okay to like...
Point with the whole hand, but no one did that versus...
Maybe they catch themselves and like, oh...
No, the kids didn't care. There was all the stuff they taught us about the culture, like, oh, you're supposed to bow and this is formal greeting. Only one lady did that. Super, super old lady who spoke no English. That's the only person who really cared. All the other kids were super informal.
All the kids that you were in contact with over there. Cambodian kids.
Yep. And when we actually got onto outreach, or went into outreach, most of what we did was just teach English. We taught at one of the sponsorship schools, and then actually me and one other girl from Minnesota, a lot of Minnesotans.
Really?
There was 11.
Oh, wow.
Well, details. Me and one other girl from Minnesota, we taught at one of the public schools.
In their public school?
In public schools. It's very weird, actually.
Was it teaching English conversationally, or did you have kind of a regiment?
A class where I was supposed to be helping teaching conversation English. I'm not prepared to teach conversation English, so I literally just talked with the kids. And that was interesting. They asked weird questions.
Yeah, but that's how they figure out words, though, too, right? I mean, would they ask you, okay, so what does that word mean?
Well, actually, they wouldn't even, it'd more be correcting, like, basic grammar.
Okay.
Because their grammar's, most of Asia, their grammar is very different.
Like, opposed to our, like, subject, verb, or subject adjective verb.
Theirs comes out of order.
Yeah.
They do not like X's and S's at all.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. They just skip over them.
So even plural stuff is like, how do you compute that?
Exactly. My name the entire time was Alec. Because I refused to pronounce the X.
Oh, yeah, because you have an XS sound to it, Alex.
Yeah. So they just Alec the whole time.
Alec.
And there was one other Alex who had the same problem. But with what's funny about the comments, because I had a class that knew English fairly well, so they were able to talk video games with one of the kids, and it was absolutely hilarious. But one day I got a girls' class, or something like it was a mix of class, but it was primarily girls because I was filling in for another teacher. And their questions were, do you have a girlfriend? Why not? What's wrong with you?
But those are practical, yeah?
Well, I'm like, nothing's wrong with me, thank you for making me feel terrible. But besides teaching English, we did do a lot of slums ministry. We did that every day.
And so had you prepared for that piece at DTS?
We did prepare messages to share with people. I don't think they could have prepared us for actually preaching in the slums because it's very weird. We walked in, anything Nike, anything like name brand is all fake from Thailand there. Mm-hmm. So they see a bunch of white people. One of us is wearing AirPods, going into a slum, and they invite us in and offer to give us food. No. And I'm like, this is very weird. Because they don't honestly care what we have to say. Like, they just want us to come in, kind of like an honor thing. And then we get the chance to actually talk to them and hopefully engage with them. And some people were very engaged, as I said. They would ask questions. They'd be like, where can I learn more about this? We have a Bible for you in Khmer. If you can't read Khmer, which is fairly common that they can't read, we had some audiobook options.
Oh, really?
Everyone there has a cell phone.
So how could they use your audio options? I suppose it wouldn't be the slum people that would use that.
Actually, even slum people had cell phones. It was very weird.
So on their cell phones, they had an app that they could go to?
They had, I don't remember what the app was, but they had an app that was just the audiobook of the Bible.
Awesome.
Very minimal. But it was...
Isn't that crazy? Third world country, and everybody has cell phones. That was my second trip to Africa that had become on the radar. Like, there's no infrastructure, but they have cell phones. Like, where's your antennas at? It was
weird. Everyone has cell phones, and oddly, everyone has a moto.
It's a moto.
Like little scooters.
Oh, yeah.
Which we were not allowed to drive.
I finally got to ride my first one this last trip I was overseas.
The only reason I got to ride one was in a parking lot, and that's because no one was around to stop us.
So you did get a ride one?
My leader was like, you can go for one round in the parking lot because it's so he couldn't figure it out, so he wanted to show me. Yeah, it's hard, and I'm like, this isn't hard at all. What's wrong with you?
It's like riding a bike. Come on.
It was literally one that we had stripped down, like with the sole purpose of repairing it. So in Cambodia, I stayed with the pastor who we were working with at the school, and he had another guy staying with him from Australia, who was awesome. It was Byron Davis, and he
had the accent and everything.
He had the accent. He had the slang. It was great. But he was a funny guy because when we do missions, we raise support. We have people who give us money to go over there because it's stupid expensive. He raised all his own support. The only money he raised from other people was, like, he worked for his own money. All of the support he raised was just for building projects.
Oh, so the money he brought with him was to help with buying material for the
material.
Cool.
So he kind of just did whatever he wanted the whole time.
Did he come through YWAM though?
He came through, I want to say it was Samaritan's Purse.
Oh, okay. So you guys just connected?
Yep. He was just staying in the same area, and he was our mode of transportation. Anytime we did, he also naturally gave us our manual labor jobs.
Oh, so you lined up the projects.
Our daily activities were, in the morning we had manual labor or slums ministry, and then in the afternoons we had teaching, and then our evenings were pretty much free. A lot of the girls played soccer or football with the boys because they had
the local.
At the school we were at, they had a boys football league, just like a little, just for the sole purpose of getting the boys off the streets.
Oh yeah,
giving them something really constructive to do, and they were insane at it.
They're probably a little cooler in the evenings to play too.
They actually made fun of us because my team leader would play, just fool around because the field was empty during, like, from 11 to 1 o'clock. It's empty. The reason it's empty is because it's hot and she's out there just playing, and they're like, what's wrong with her? She's gonna die.
Heat stroke. You didn't play much?
I'm terrible at it.
But I would think, this sounds very prejudiced. I might have to edit this later. Aren't they all little, short?
They are all
so you would be like towering over there.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm a foot taller than if I can't.
But you could be the goalie or something.
I could have. They were all
quick though, probably.
They're quick. They're stick, like, it's a third world country, so they're all very skinny.
Yeah.
And they're just they're so fast, and it's not fair.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. But anyway, so we manual labor or slums ministry, which I'll talk more about slums ministry because it's super fun. We did teaching, and then our evenings were free, and then we pretty much spent our whole day in church on Sundays. Because we had Khmer service, then we had international service.
Which was English?
Because there's...
I thought maybe it'd be Chinese or something.
Nope. There's a lot of Chinese people there, but we didn't have a Chinese service. I don't know why. But no, we had an English service because there was a lot of people from the Philippines, a lot of people from Canada, Australia, who speak Khmer, but
English is a second or
English is
first language to some of them.
So that was really great for us to have.
Cool.
And then in between those two services, we did do just kind of hanging out from the slums.
Were those worship experiences, were they culturally expressive as opposed to the West? Or was it kind of a normal, what you would expect even in the West?
It was a little bit of both. You hear a lot of songs that we do not have here. And their worship is funny because they don't care what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Which means it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
That's kind of horrible to say, but like in my church, we're very focused on having a good sound and having people be engaged in worship.
Real competent.
For them, if it's loud and they're connecting with Jesus, that's all they want.
Yeah.
So they don't care if their speakers are blown out. They don't care if they're singing in key. They just want to worship.
Or even if their music lines up with...
That they're all actually pretty good to do. It was mostly, keeping things in key.
Okay.
And their speakers were blown out.
They do much dancing in their service?
A lot of dancing.
Yeah. Love that.
Not necessarily like...
Not necessarily charismatic or
running
crazy.
Around, but like people would be jumping in their seats. People would...
Was there much dancing that was... uniform, like they'd have teams that were dancing together with stuff, or not really?
They did once, and they did like it was a group of girls from the school who did honestly, it wasn't a tea ceremony. It was just it was like a Buddhist cultural thing.
Yeah.
Which I did not understand at all. Like there was supposed to be some story with it. No idea what's going on.
So it's supposed to have a narrative.
Yeah. Fine, so.
Yeah. Right. Translator, please.
But beyond that, there wasn't anything that was specific to the country as far as like dances or anything uniform. But their worship was probably one of my favorite things because, as I said, they don't care what it sounds like. They just want to worship, which means it's loud, a lot of crying, and it's very, very good.
Seemingly sincere and
very sincere.
Yeah.
Their culture, I didn't really get a whole lot of like fake. People like they buy all sorts of like fake Gucci and like Nike stuff to appear better, but they don't really. No one's gonna lie to your face. At least I didn't experience that. Maybe some of the teenage boys would.
Yeah.
But, none of the adults try and pull your leg or try and pull.
But kind of a heavy honor system.
It was like, oh my goodness, I had something.
You loved their worship experience. It was.
Their worship was fun, and I actually got to participate. Like they had a very crappy bass. We were.
Did you get to play?
Yeah, it was
like during.
Both my leader played acoustic and drums, and she played a lot of stuff, but that was his primary too.
Yeah.
So we actually got to lead worship a couple times. It was probably different what they expected, but we really enjoyed it.
It was probably a treat for them too. See the white Westerners.
The out of tune Westerners. But no,
you probably couldn't okay, let's get this in.
We got it. The bass is playable. The reason I say it was crappy is, it's stuff's rusted over and stuff like that. And one of the pickups was supposed to be like level with the strings close, but like falling down.
Oh wow!
So it didn't. It was
just hanging on.
It was still pretty sweet. Yeah. That was going from my church where I said everything's very organized. With practice, we have kind of a standard that we try and uphold to. Okay, now we're gonna watch the Americans play.
Yeah. But it's of less importance, of less value.
Of less value, it's more focused on.
But more engaged, probably.
More engaged. They just want to be close to Jesus. That's purely all they want. I want to get close to Jesus, and I want to hear someone teach, and that's all I want to. But
did their preaching, teaching, at least in the English services that you were able to pick up on, did it sound like, man, this is solid? Or was it kind of
pretty solid?
Okay,
I don't remember there being anything that I disagreed with. There was a couple things which I'm like, I should probably research that. I don't know how I feel about that. But nothing actually comes to me. I don't remember anything where it was specific. For the most part, a lot of it was motivating people to actually go out and tell people about Jesus. Mostly telling people what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to be discipled and then disciple others. That was a lot of
pretty clear. Yeah, good.
Which is why their church, especially overseas, is growing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Cambodia is not growing exploding, but it's
on a consistent basis. Yeah. They don't have the distractions of all the things that we have either. Although their phones will probably become a distraction.
Their phones, it's really funny. Okay, so not related to missions whatsoever. They love PUBG over there.
They love who?
PUBG.
I should probably know what that is, but I don't.
Yeah, you're a young adult.
PUBG.
It's PlayerUnknown. It's just PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. It's just a survival game.
Oh, so they're playing it on their.
They're just playing with each other. But kids who speak no English will run up to you, hold up the phone, and say PUBG, and want to play. It's very interesting.
They want to play on your phone, or they want to play against you?
They want to play with you.
Oh, nice.
But we didn't have SIM cards, so I had to be in a coffee shop.
Oh.
Which was actually really good for me. My team.
Were you able to play some?
Yeah, we did play some with some of the kids at the church. But our leaders were the only people on our team who got SIM cards. Just kind of a YWAM thing is, you're on outreach, you don't need to be on your phone.
Yeah.
This will be a major distraction.
Did you have your phone just to take pictures and stuff? Or?
I had my phone to take pictures and, mostly just pictures and when I was at coffee shops.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could Wi-Fi at that point.
We had Wi-Fi and I'd, call home or not watch Netflix.
It was such a hard time not watching.
No, actually I downloaded them. What coffee shops turned into was, okay, here's my time to go to the coffee shop, download a crap ton of Netflix for like later during the night use, and then call home.
Catch up on my binging.
Yeah, I wasn't the greatest at
That's
not
funny.
binging, but
That's a constant in growing culture, even other cultures too, as far as that goes.
well, one thing they did teach us about, not really before going to outreach, but kind of as we got there, we learned more about the country. Is why not say the word is apathetic? They believe, okay, because of karma and the rules of Buddhism that I do not fully understand, this is what I've been dealt. Either because I was terrible in a past life, or I'm talking mostly about slums, but mostly either I was terrible in a past life, or I just wasn't, good enough for whatever standard. So this is what I've been dealt. There's nothing I can do to change it. So they don't really try and. Some people will like start a business and trying to improve their situation, but they're not really.
They're not being extra productive.
Not being extremely productive, trying to better everything, which does result in a lot of laziness.
Just the apathy you were talking about.
Yeah. And their police system, kind of because of that, is it's really corrupt. So they're just, I'm not going to work hard. I'm just going to kind of scam people and get by. Which is weird. We're not sure what the police officers actually did there.
Is their police and military different? Or are they kind of the same?
I think it was mostly local police. I didn't really see any military except at like airports and stuff.
Okay.
When we were in the larger cities like Phnom Penh, which is the capital, they have embassies there, so you see military outside those.
What was the city you were in again?
The one that we stayed in, or the one?
That's the capital.
The capital's Phnom Penh. We stayed in Phoi Phet.
I want to see where that's at on here once this loads up. Is that where you spent most of your time? Is Phuket?
It's right on the border of Thailand. Like it'd be a long walk, but we could easily walk to Thailand.
Pretty big slum there as well, or just?
They're not necessarily big slums. They're kind of just scattered all over the place.
Okay. So it's not like one big garbage dump type thing. It's just
they're kind of all over the place. And the people we worked with strategically would place schools, like the sponsorship schools, right next to a slum.
Oh yeah.
The main reason, and I probably should have mentioned this early on, it just popped back into my head.
That's right.
Huh?
That's all right.
Basically, the main purpose for us teaching English was, again, we're right on the border of Thailand, so there's a huge trafficking problem.
Oh wow.
Trafficking girls, trafficking guys for labor, just
both.
Huge stuff into Thailand and Vietnam. Through putting them in school, the kids are, instead of just running around the streets when they should be in school, in one spot, in a safe spot. Same with the boys soccer team, just giving them a place to be that's a safe place.
Phoi Phet, right here on the border?
Yep, Phoi Phet, and then, we were right on the border. And is that Siem Reap? And we also went to Siem Reap and...
Where's Siem Reap?
Right here. It's kind of a touristy town. We went there for our midway. Just kind of a short vacation. Because we were there for 3 months.
There's my camera in there.
So a lot of what we did was kind of just preventative measures for human trafficking. And, if the kids speak English, then they can go to one of the larger cities and try and do a food stand or taxis. Or
at least be able to not only defend themselves, but try to find work so that they're not in a position where they have to sell their bodies for labor or sex. Or
even kids for that matter. Like, that's a legitimate thing there.
It is.
Really, really sad, actually.
That's not uncommon. And what's the window again?
1040 window.
The 1040 window.
And it's, we hear that and we're like, that's terrible. How could anybody do that? But we've never, even the poorest people in America have never seen poverty like that.
Yeah.
These people are living in towns, like the mini slums of just kind of thrown together buildings, just anything to get them out of the rain and such. So.
And sometimes that culture is even like, even so that my kid can survive. It's better for me to give them to you as a servant / slave. So that,
And so most of what we did was preventative measures for that.
Okay.
Keeping the kids in a safe place and giving them even just a crappy or even a thrown together education from what we could offer them, but something to offer them still. And they learned from, the school was run by people from the Philippines, a lot of Filipino people. They would teach them, math, basic grammar skills, some like basic life skills, just to give them as much of an education as we can offer them, as well as there's food and stuff in there as well for the sponsorships.
Also, at least get a meal a day.
Yeah.
Like a lunch or something.
Yep.
Otherwise, they probably didn't know where food was coming from.
Not horribly expensive over there.
Okay.
My team, we ate very plainly.
What are staple foods?
Fried rice.
Fried rice.
Everything is fried rice.
Yeah.
It's fried rice, fried noodles, and pork rice, which I don't know what they do to the pork there, but it's delicious. Like it's.
Here's my bigger question. My bigger question is, did you eat any dog while you were over there?
Not consciously.
Not consciously.
When we visited the other team, as I said, there was one girl who'd been in missions her whole life, so she's eating a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're going to go eat snake. And I'm like, okay. Snake's not the weirdest thing you've offered me.
Yeah.
So, but then we went down there and everything was gone. All they had was like the tiny little bugs that I'm not eating.
Yeah, maggots or whatever. Grubs.
There was 2 girls on my team who were willing to eat this massive salted beetle thing. It's like a dried salted beetle.
Live?
No, it's dried and salted. It was, but it made the worst sound.
Just a crunch.
Nope.
Like, how do you even get to the protein
Oh, gosh.
with the exoskeleton or whatever it is?
I couldn't do it. Nope. But we have video, so it didn't happen. And they also ate like these little mini octopuses on a stick. So we did eat some weird food. And a lot of the food there is, mostly rice-based. There's a lot of oils, and it's a lot of food that's terrible for you.
Yeah.
But food was delicious.
Yeah, that's an experience in and of itself, just the foreign cuisine. That's not the right word, but foreign food.
Just different food. And the food there, in America we have all these preservatives, we have all these things to make our food last. No, none of that.
Everything's got to be fresh or whatever.
Refrigeration is used solely for alcohol.
Really?
As far as I could tell, if I saw a refrigerator, it had beer in it. So everything is super fresh as far as food goes.
Yeah.
Side note, when we clean a chicken, we clean it off the bone. They don't. They just chop it up with the bone. No one told us this.
So you had bone and marrow with your...
Yeah.
It's probably good not to know.
I know. Like,
Till afterwards.
it's scared. Like, I've been into it, and I was like, this is a lot harder than it should be. Because it's just these chunks of bone in the meat.
So you just try to spit it out, or
You just eat around it. And it wasn't considered inappropriate to do that. So.
to eat around it,
Like
leave it on
just-
your plate?
Yeah. Like, you see Americans eating with their hands, some people are like, oh, that's gross. No, they don't.
Did they have much meat, though? I mean, you said rice was like the staple stuff. Did they have much meat?
We ate a lot of chicken and we ate a lot of pork.
Chicken and pork.
That was about
Now, do they have like the sacred cow like India does? So you didn't have beef because of that?
I had beef while we were there.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you're talking about. I'm actually not sure if they actually. I don't think the locals would eat as much beef. But like if we went to
Up in the country
one
or
of the
something?
cafes, we could have gotten.
Oh, okay.
It was crab. It was
Yeah.
Their cows are disgusting. They're like super thin. The skin's kind of just draped on them.
Yeah.
They're eating trash. So we weren't really into beef.
Is there goats around? People raising goats for milk or
I
anything?
didn't see many goats actually. You see a lot of people with chickens. You see a lot of people with. I don't remember any goats. There had to have been. There was milk.
How about pets? Did you see people with pets at all? Cats or dogs
There
or
was people with cats.
monkeys or?
I'm super mad. I was one of the only people who didn't get to see a monkey.
You didn't see a single monkey?
Yes. No, we saw one from like a distance.
Oh.
But like, one of the girls, they went to one of the temples like to just kind of explore, and there's a monkey there, little 3-armed monkey or 3-legged monkey, and just
3-legged monkey?
angriest thing on earth.
Wow.
It was,
Whatever the story was behind
I
that.
have no idea. They just like it was missing one of his legs and it chased us. It was terrifying.
A 3-legged monkey. Huh.
But no, as far as food goes, we mostly just had fried rice and fried noodles, and I could not complain.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
How about, and I know we're jumping around, that's fine, but just thinking about with your training, which was strong in just self-growth.
It was mostly just to get us in a
Ready and
healthy spot
prepared
with God's
spiritually.
Spirit.
Yeah. So were there opportunities to have even just more depth in your conversations, whether through your class or in the slums or...
We had one guy who expressed, was really interested to the point where he's like, do you have any books that I can read on this or anything?
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the most engaged we got. We tried, because, living at the church that we were at, there was constantly kids there. We tried to get close to some of the kids and try and start those kind of conversations. Not really... It didn't get to the point where we're talking about different spiritual things like that. But mostly it was kind of encouraging them to read their Bible, encouraging them to pray. One kid, super sad actually, he's like, I'm not worthy to pray. And I'm like, you obviously haven't been paying attention because that's the whole point, is God doesn't care, what you've done. He just wants to get to know you and move forward with you.
Yeah.
So it didn't get to any major crazy in-depth discussions as far as with local people. With some of the other missionaries there, we got into a lot of really good topics actually.
Now you mean missionaries or international kids?
International, there was a girl from Canada who was volunteering there. She'd been there for years. There's a guy from Australia. He'd been there for quite a while, off and on. He actually has come back a couple of times. Weirdly, they all came there through YWAM. And now they're
ended up staying on their own or something like that.
There was actually another YWAM base there that we did worship with on Mondays because we wanted English worship.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Is that in the same city?
Yeah. It was a little bit of same city. It was a decent sized city. And when you're walking everywhere, everything seems huge.
The satellite.
But there was University of Nations YWAM base there.
Oh really?
And they mixed more cultural and cultural Khmer worship, which they explained there isn't a whole lot. They just haven't written their own songs yet. But then we had some more worship that we were
Was the city on the other side of Thailand, was it just as big? And of course you probably didn't cross over.
We did actually. We went into Thailand twice because we did 30-day visas. So we went into Thailand twice. Almost got in trouble once because they knew we were just going to renew our visas. They were like, oh, you have to spend money in our country, or they just, trying to generate some revenue.
The aerial view is interesting. It's very almost like this is the river. This is Thailand, and so it almost looks like it's government built. You see all that?
Yeah.
Versus
this is Phuket.
This is all Thailand on this side of the river,
and then the right side is Phuket, because that actually makes Phuket is, as you can probably see, it's very dense.
Yeah.
So you'd have barbershop, metalworking shop, food stands.
Yeah.
All in
and most of the people are on foot or on bike or
nobody really rode any animals that I saw. It was mostly you can haul anything with a moto, by the way. I've got a couple pictures of these guys.
It's crazy.
Pulling these massive carts with a single bike. It's filled with baskets. It looks ridiculous.
They call them bodas in Africa, and that's all you see. Yeah. I mean, there's just tons of them.
But if you go into Thailand, it's a lot more modern. We joked. We went.
Oh yeah.
They had a KFC.
Funny.
They had. It's a lot more of a modern. They have more revenue there.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit more. I don't want to say capitalism, but they definitely are.
Was able to trade and buy and sell. Yeah.
Which. One of my leader, he was a shoe guy, like a sneaker guy. So he would go around looking for, I don't remember what they're called, just these Adidas shoes that are super nice.
But were they off-brand? I mean, were they?
We have no idea. They looked super nice though, like they looked legitimate. They're like $130, $150 shoes. He got it for $60.
Nice.
One pair he got for $30.
But there's a definite, I mean...
Yeah, you can see.
There is definitely a it's almost like Mexican border stuff where on the Cambodia side it just looks like throw together.
Yeah, it's literally thrown together.
But the Thailand side looks a little more, I guess I didn't realize how
One thing that was also weird about the Cambodian side is, like in America, we have, if you're wealthy, you live in this district just because you can afford to live here. So you have nice houses grouped together. In Cambodia, you'll have slum, nice house, gated, this big gated shop. Like it's all just pushed really close together.
Yeah.
But if you had a nice house, you had a gate. It's a tall gate.
Yeah.
Let everyone out.
So there's like, it's just all mixed.
It's really mixed together.
Yeah.
Which at first was really culturally confusing because a lot of people, they'd show off their wealth. Like, oh, I'm a government official, I have all this money.
Yeah.
Which is the only people who have money as government officials up here. Just, again, corrupt nation.
Right.
But
Hoard the power and all that.
and it didn't make any sense because they were in, especially in like Phnom Penh and Siem Reap, which were much larger tourist cities. You'd see like Mercedes, you'd see Bentleys, you'd see really nice cars stuck in a sea of motos. You pay a ridiculous amount of money to show off that you have money, so you can be stuck in a sea of motos. Because the motos are zipping through everywhere, and you can't do that in a car.
Did they have the little like three-wheel? What do they call those things? India has.
Tuk-tuks.
Yeah, they had those. Right?
We did. We loved tuk-tuks.
They carry 2 or 4 passengers or something.
Usually 4.
We call them totos. Is that
Tuk-tuks.
tuk-tuks? That's it. That's it.
And that wasn't the That's the Filipino name for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They had something else in Cambodia they called it.
I don't remember. It was like three-wheeled car or something like that. Is what it translated into.
Okay.
One of the teachers explained this to me, but his English was super weird.
Were they like taxis though? I mean,
Yeah. And actually, if you being a white guy, if you throw your arm up, somebody's going to stop you. And
especially when you're 6 foot. Whatever you are.
I stood out. It was interesting.
Head and shoulders above everybody, probably.
I was a foot taller than almost everybody there. We saw one other tall guy. There was Buddhist monks all over the place.
Yeah.
They would just go through and collect alms. But it was really awkward because they wear these bright orange robes and they carry these silver like little buckets. And we saw one, and he had to have been at least like 5'10" or something. And for them, that's very tall.
Yeah.
So he just looked ridiculous. But no, if I threw my arm up, somebody stops, and usually I could go across town for about $1, $2.
Okay.
But if you hire, since we're right in the border of Thailand, I'm pretty sure gambling is illegal in Thailand. So they built.
I saw a casino.
Yeah,
and it's on the
Cambodian side. There's probably 5 or 6 really big casinos, which doesn't help the culture at all.
Right.
But if you hire one of those taxis, they'll drive you across town for $10 or $15, which is more than a day's wage for most of the people.
So gambling is illegal?
Huge part.
Or is it borderline?
Cambodia.
Oh.
So the Chinese and Thailand
Would come across.
and just build these massive casinos. And while we were there, there was kind of a problem of Chinese people are coming in, offering people 3-4 times what their land is worth, buying up all land, but now China owns everything.
Right. Yeah. That was my experience in Africa too. It's like, boy, they own all the infrastructure, which is, anyways, a whole other political side of that.
It was very interesting. And it didn't help because the church we worked with was the Bridge of Hope Center, and they needed a bigger building. They really needed a bigger building.
Just booming, huh?
There's kids everywhere, and they were really struggling to find a spot that they could afford that would also be beneficial.
Did the church host the school as well?
Yes.
The school was at the
church was the school. So it was a school throughout the whole week, and then on Sundays we had church there.
Okay.
But as you probably saw in most third world countries, they do house churches.
Yeah.
So that was also a big thing.
Okay.
We didn't really get to go to one of those though.
Would they meet through the week, but then have big service on Sundays?
I'm not sure. Our service was pretty decent. Like we filled the building pretty much. It wasn't a huge building. It was about the size of your youth room actually.
Oh wow.
So not super huge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else? Highlight? Lowlight?
I'm kind of just ranting. My favorite part of as I said, our morning was manual labor or slums. Manual labor was awesome.
Really?
And I'm a lazy person, so that's really weird for me to say I'm lazy.
So what was, give me an example of project or two.
It started with, okay, we need to paint. There was one of those slums had a little, like, kind of like nursery school in there, like a preschool almost. Like, we just went over there and we painted that, or it started off with just painting jobs. But towards the end, my two favorite jobs that we did was, they have the little Main Street kind of thing where they have all their shops set up. And one lady has this they're like little rice balls. She makes them half a ball, fills it with like coconut and red pepper flakes, and then seals it. It's just little coconut balls, or rice flour balls. Amazing. But she was getting kicked off of her current lot, which nobody owns, by the way. I don't know who was kicking her off. I think it was government officials. And it's like, oh, we need you to move. So in spite, we just moved her to the next lot over. But we had, the side of the road is just nothing but trash. It's literally nothing but trash.
Yeah.
So we had to lay down dirt and pack that down. And I think they came in after us and laid down cement.
But they were going to erect like a little shell of a...
Yeah, all we did was spread the dirt and pack the dirt to give it something to stand on.
So how big a shop would she eventually have there?
It was maybe the one
10
that
by
she
10
was
or?
probably 5 feet, probably 7 feet deep, and probably maybe 10, 15 feet long. It wasn't huge.
Not much, yeah.
And again, just sheet metal and tree branches.
Yeah. So no dimensional lumber necessarily. It's just whatever you could find.
It was whatever would hold you down.
Okay.
But that job, we're working in pretty hot hours in a day. So we're just, what it resulted in was you have white Americans who have money. They got here so they have money. They're wearing things that show that they have money. I'm wearing a dry fit Nike shirt. And they're working their butts off, sweating. We worked our hands.
So people stopping, trying to like...
They would stop and ask the guys who's going on, what the heck is going on? They're like, oh, we're helping this lady out. Why? And we felt like we just asked us, well, who the heck's Jesus? And gave us that opportunity.
Yeah.
And as well as just to bless some of the people there. The lady had no money to pay us, had no money to give us for dirt. So she gave us dirt, and it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But,
some of her little rice balls.
they were delicious. Like
and you didn't get sick?
No. Oh, it did get sick. When you go overseas, you probably experience this. Your body reacts to different bacteria by freaking out.
Yeah.
So everyone got sick for
like dysentery type stuff?
like 3 to 5 days. It wasn't terrible. Taking Imodium and
Yeah.
for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But we were, we're packing dirt. We're doing stuff. We worked our fingers off. It was day after day, new blisters, new calluses. Our hands to the point were like, oh, we can't do this. Like we couldn't hold on anymore. It was great.
Yeah.
At the end, we were working with Byron with a school he was building. We were just mixing and pouring cement. And it was just really hot work. I mean, we're out in the middle of the day, so we're pouring sweat. None of us could care.
Yeah.
And it was such a weird experience.
Yeah, because you're all gelling together too, making these memories together.
And there was
Feeling like you're accomplishing something big in the midst of a storm.
It was, the whole bigger picture thing. And actually, one of the guys who worked for Byron, Byron would hire people in the community to help him with projects.
Yeah.
And one of them had a kid. He was actually, the guy was a Christian. He went to our church. He had a kid called Hosanna. Cutest kid ever. And I got a couple pictures.
Hosanna?
Yep. I'm 90% sure that's how they actually pronounce his name.
Yeah.
But just he was there all the time. Super smiley kid.
Cool.
We'd pick him up and throw him around, and he loved it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. The labor part of things, and that's a major branch of what you did, along with the teaching piece, and even what happens together with like your team is a huge piece of it.
My team was actually, I would say, it was almost all girls.
Yeah.
From two things. One, they kept up with manual labor, no problem.
Yeah.
It actually got to the point where Byron's like, hey, what's her name from Minnesota? Can she come instead of go teaching? Can she come and help us? Because she's kicking your guys' butt right now.
Yeah.
But the girls actually was a lot of fun. There were times where I'm like, okay, this is really weird. Mostly because they wanted to go off and do girly things when we were on our debriefs. We had one midway where we went to Sebring for 4 days, and we had our end debrief where we went to Phnom Penh like a week before we left for home.
Okay.
Just a touristy thing. Yeah. So they wanted to go get like massages, and they have, called it Dr. Fish. You stick your feet into these little pools.
Dr. Fix?
Dr. Fish.
Oh, fish.
You stick your feet in these pools and the fish eats the dead skin off.
Oh, I've heard about that.
The weirdest thing ever. They wanted to do crap like that. We did not. So beyond that,
You just wanted to ride a motorcycle around town.
no, they wouldn't let us.
Well, the capital city, that'd be a little crazy.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
But actually, what's really cool about Phnom Penh is it's kind of like large cities in America, where it's just this mixing pot of cultures. So we went to an authentic Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
We went to an authentic Italian restaurant. We went to all these places that we have the people who are there. We went to a pizza place that was run by an Australian guy. Every different culture in Phnom Penh.
Yeah, like a little Chinatown, or a little. Yeah.
So that was. But as far as my team goes, we actually all got really close, and it was.
That's right on a big river.
Phnom Penh?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually the night market was right on the river. The night market's funny.
The Mekong River.
Yep.
Did you get on the river? That's the market on the river?
It wasn't on the river, but we had to cross a bridge to get to the night market. And their night markets are really funny because they all speak English.
Say the market again. What's it?
Night market.
Night market.
So in Phnom Penh, most people speak English. So they have no problem making fun of you, no problem yelling at you to get your attention. I
don't mind that. It's when they grab your arm and try to pull you into stuff.
We didn't have that problem.
That crosses the line.
We didn't have that problem. We had like the taxi drivers. They're like, hey, you need a tuk-tuk? And they're like, no. And they're like,
that's where you flew into, right?
Phnom Penh. Yeah. We flew from San Francisco to Phnom Penh. Or San Francisco to Shanghai to Phnom Penh.
Oh, you went to stop in Shanghai.
Yep. A lot of flying. The only thing I hated was the 13-hour flight.
Yeah, it's a long flight.
I can do
Though
it.
you probably had TVs built in.
There's so much TV you can watch.
All right.
But
and you're trying to like regulate your sleep too, so when you land,
actually, it was really funny. So we all went to different countries, the teams, but for some reason, everyone woke up at 3 a.m. when we got back. Like for 3 or 4 days, everyone just woke up at 3, 4 a.m. And we're like, we're not allowed to leave our rooms. What are we doing?
Yeah. Did you guys have a debrief back in Colorado Springs?
And mostly that was things. We were over there for 3 months, so it was like, okay, you've been in another culture for 3 months. Transitioning back to American cultures may be difficult for you, maybe even traumatizing.
Yeah, how did you do with that?
I did okay. I didn't really have a time where I was like, broke down, like I couldn't have that kind of moment. Most of what I noticed was, I didn't really have a moment where I'm like, okay, this is, I don't even know how to word it. Some people had a moment where they would go to do something that they did overseas and realize, oh wait, I can't do this here, or oh, lunch isn't going to cost me $1.50.
Yeah. How about the one of the big questions I have, especially with DTS and YWAM, is just you're in a bubble, and you're experiencing fellowship in an awesome, healthy way. But coming back stateside, you really have to work at being self-disciplined and stuff. So how's that been?
That was, as you said, YWAM is a bubble. So you build super, super close relationships super quick. I think the hardest part for me was when they were like, you're all from different countries. You got people from the Netherlands, people from Canada. You're probably never going to see 90% of these people ever again. I'm like, but I want to see these people again. That was probably the hardest part for me, was realizing
close friendships.
Close friendships that there's a very good chance I'll never see again.
Yeah.
But I totally forgot the second part of your question, actually.
Well, it's just the idea of you're in the bubble. So how do you? Because a lot of times when you're in the bubble, you don't have. It's not self-discipline. because they set your schedule and other things. So how's that been coming back? I mean, it helps to have a job to go to.
They described YWAM as being deceptively easy because even though YWAM itself is hard, all the studying, all the classes, all the stuff, our meals are prepared for us. We have a set schedule on where we need to be at certain times. So it's not horribly hard once you figure things out.
But adjusting back into them.
Once I got back, there was, especially adjusting back to an actual 9 to whatever job, that was actually super hard for me because when you're in Wyoming, you have a sense of purpose, you have all these things that motivate you. I'm growing closer to God, I'm doing all these things, I'm serving people purely for the sake of serving. Then you get home and you're like, okay, I'm still getting closer to God, I'm still serving God, but I really hate 90% of this other crap that I have to do on a daily basis. Especially the things like working.
Yeah. Which is the real world though, right?
It is like, YWAM does not prepare you for the real world, it does prepare you for getting closer to God, which is its main focus. But yeah, coming back to real life, outside of YWAM was not, like that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited to go to Africa, is I'm really getting tired of real life. I want to go.
2-minute soundbite, and I'm going to change directions, I need to get going. Give me your anticipation on Africa. When is that, and what are you going to do there?
So I'm going in August. We had a pastor come visit us. A good friend of my dad's from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. And he invited me just, I'm hosting a Holy Spirit conference, or my group is hosting a Holy Spirit conference. If you can get to Kenya, I will host you. And I'm like, okay, that's a ridiculous offer. Then I realized how expensive the plane ticket was. I was like, okay, it's still a ridiculous offer.
And how long was he willing?
It was originally 2 weeks. But my dad's been talking to me, and we've just been communicating back and forth. And I was really, right now I'm going over there to kind of just study and disciple with him. I was going to do Bible study with YWAM, but now I'm going to Kenya. Just studying, being discipled by the pastor over there.
Mentored directly.
Yeah. And now that looks like it's going to be a little over 2 months probably.
Oh. So. I guess I didn't realize it was that long. That's cool though. I think you almost need to be. It takes 2 weeks to like enjoy, but then there comes a time where it's just like, oh, this is hard.
Yeah.
The end of the tunnel so much farther away.
And that's, even in YWAM, that was the thing of like, it started off, okay, we're super excited to be here, we're super excited about all this culture, and then halfway we're like, okay, I only have, 6 weeks before I get to go home. Some people, that's where they struggled, was counting down, which our leaders did really discourage us from doing that. They're like, no, be involved here.
Yeah.
Don't just think about when you're going to go home.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Kenya. I have no idea, beyond studying with him, I have no idea what he's going to challenge me to do. Yeah. But I'm fairly okay with that.
You were here when he came and visited, so you know him.
I have met him. Super funny pastor. He's the best example I have is he went to one of my dad's churches and gave a super hard-hitting message, and he kind of hit on a little bit of the hypocrisy of the church, saying, okay, there's people in my church that are probably not going to heaven. There's people in the American church that are probably not going to heaven. There's probably people in this church that are not going to heaven. I'm like, okay, you're getting a little direct with this, but he said it in a way that was, out of love, and they loved him. They loved what he had to say. Yeah. He really challenged them.
There's a sense of, when someone preaches messages like that they're not here just to give you a good story, but really, like, the Spirit's got to be part of that. I'm really encouraged by that. I think we should. Thank you, by the way.